Hey, my lovelies. How are you? Dr. Erin in the house. Let's talk about the pretendies. What is the pretendies? This is like one of my favourite topics to talk about ever. It's the idea that when you know someone's been struggling with something, so maybe they've been depressed, they've had some trauma, they've just had a new baby, but yet they seem to be taking it all in their stride and carrying it well. I'm not assuming that just because someone is carrying something well, that it's not really super duper monumentally heavy for them. And so the pretendies, I like to call it, comes from Paul Kelly, so the singer Paul Kelly, and in his book How to Make Gravy, he talks about this idea of sometimes when you're on stage and you're performing a piece of music, something just goes a bit and you're like, shit, I shouldn't be here, I don't know if I deserve to be here. And then you've lost a bit of confidence and you kind of just have to keep going. And sometimes it's contagious and everybody else in the band gets it and then they're out of tune or they're out of sync or something's just, there's been a it's that moment of, I'm just pretending. Don't people realise that I'm just pretending? I'm this fraud. I'm actually not keeping it all together. I actually don't know what I'm doing and I'm going to be caught out at any second. So people who struggle with postpartum depression, chronic illness, pain, work issues, anyone who kind of looks, they seem pretty strong, they seem to be taking it in their stride, sometimes they suffer from the pretendies, the being able to put on the mask and smile and do the things and show up to the mum's group and turn up to work and not complain about their lack of sleep, not complain about their pain, not complain about the fact that maybe they sat up all night in tears thinking about what a shit useless mother, human being, father, whatever it is that's happening for them. And yet they wash their face and they get up and they just keep going because this need to show the rest of the world that you're okay is a habit that we get ourselves into. So I want you to really think about who in your life, or maybe it's you, right, is going through the pretendies, doing what you need to do so that other people are not worried about you, concerned about you, ask too much about how you're going. This, my friends, is ultimately what leads to burnout, suicide, psychiatric hospital visits, other hospital visits, adrenal exhaustion, fatigue, quitting and having to do something else with your life. This is how it starts, by trying to hold it all together. Because the thing also that happens with depression and trauma is that if you get caught smiling, laughing, enjoying yourself, sometimes people think, oh, maybe it's not that bad for you. Maybe you're just pretending. So it's the other version of the pretendies. So sometimes when you're struggling, you feel this need to keep up a certain image for how things are going for you, because you can't live life, or you don't want to live life, being like those people that you see on those horrendous kind of not really news shows, but where, like insurance companies are chasing people to find out, have you really broken your neck? Do you really need a wheelchair? Living with trauma and depression and any kind of mental health, even if it's not a technical mental health diagnosis, but just you're struggling, living with that and the burden of being found out, either like you're going to be found out that you're faking. So sometimes in psychology and psychiatry, we talk about like fake good and fake bad. So faking good is in trying to present yourself as this picture perfect human who never has any difficulties, never has any flaws. Or the faking bad where you're like, oh, you're just doing this to get attention. And we've all heard this before, haven't we? From family members, colleagues, people who really don't believe that an illness can be invisible. They follow that medical model of, oh, well, if I can see a scan and it says you've got cancer, then you've got cancer. But if I can't see a scan of your brain that says, hey, you've got depression, anxiety and addiction, postpartum something or other, then it must not exist and you must just be doing it for attention. So really think about who in your life might be struggling with the pretendies. And if it's you, reach out for help. I can help you with that. But also just thinking about breaching that conversation with people. Like, here's this idea. It's called the pretendies. Is that something that you've ever found yourself doing? Because we've all done it. Our society is full of the fake it till you make it kind of stuff. And You can only keep doing that for so long. And it's not so much about getting caught out and people finding out that you're a fraud and that you're fake and that you're pretending. It's that you're not living in alignment with yourself and how things are. And potentially you're surrounding yourself with people who, if they really aren't going to accept you when you're struggling and when you are that shadowed, broken, not the best version of yourself that you would like to show the world, and if they're not okay with that, why are these people in your life? Really, why are they in your life? We've all got shadow. We've all got darkness. Some of us just do a really good job of shining the spotlight elsewhere. Let it sit.